Good. You're finally here. Now help me close this, would you? Fascinating. How does that work exactly? You don't even know, do you? You just wiggle your fingers and boom. Rift closes.
Who are you?
Ah, getting ahead of myself again, I see. Doриан of House Parvus, most recently of Minrathous. How do you do?
Another Tevinter. Be cautious with this one.
Suspicious friends you have here. Magister Alexius was once my mentor, so my assistance should be valuable, as I'm sure you can imagine.
I was expecting Felix to be here.
I'm sure he's on his way. He was to give you the note, then meet us here after ditching his father.
Are you a Magister?
All right, let's say this once. I'm a mage from Tevinter, but not a member of the Magisterium. I know Southerners use the terms interchangeably, but that only makes you sound like barbarians.
Stop talking like you're waiting for applause. Just tell me what's going on.
What? There's no applause? Fine. Look, you must know there's danger. That should be obvious even without the note. Let's start with Alexius claiming the allegiance of the mage rebels out from under you. As if by magic, yes? Which is exactly right. To reach Redcliffe, before the Inquisition, Alexius distorted time itself.
He arranged it so he could arrive here just after the Divine died.
You catch on quick.
That is fascinating if true, and almost certainly dangerous.
The rift you closed here. You saw how it twisted time around itself, sped some things up and slowed others down. Soon, there will be more like it, and they'll appear further and further away from Redcliffe. The magic Alexius is using is wildly unstable, and it's unraveling the world.
You're asking me to take a lot on faith.
I know what I'm talking about. I helped develop this magic. When I was still his apprentice, it was pure theory. Alexius could never get it to work. What I don't understand is why he's doing it, ripping time to shreds just to gain a few hundred lackeys.
He didn't do it for them.
Took you long enough. Is he getting suspicious?
No, but I shouldn't have played the illness card. I thought he'd be fussing over me all day. My father's joined a cult, Tevinter Supremacists. They call themselves Venatori. And I can tell you one thing. Whatever he's done for them, he's done it to get to you.
All this for me? And I didn't get Alexius anything.
Send him a fruit basket. Everyone loves those. You know you're his target. Expecting the trap is the first step in turning it to your advantage. I can't stay in Redcliffe. Alexius doesn't know I'm here, and I want to keep it that way for now. But whenever you're ready to deal with him, I want to be there. I'll be in touch. The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Hallamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
I take it you don't agree?
On the contrary, I approve. Heartily. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
If that means they're anything like you, I approve.
Ha! There aren't many mages back home like me.
I'd believe that.
I never fit in. Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see.
So we're doomed to a future of blood magic, then?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the Sun. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed, by inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities, believe me.
Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
What do you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Canary can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
No. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.
I should go.
I do rather like watching you leave. brilliant, isn't it? One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like an anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. Am I speaking too quickly for you?
I was distracted, that's all.
Distracted? By my wit and charm? I have plenty of both.
How interesting to find someone so aware of his strengths.
I'm a man of many talents. What can I say? I always assumed the elder one behind the Venatori was a magister. But this is something else completely. In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. One of those very magisters, a dark spawn.
Who does the Imperium say started the Blight?
You know how it is. Not us. They say Darkspawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed. But if Corypheus is one of the Magisters who entered the Black City and he's Darkspawn, what other explanation is there?
We only know what Corypheus claims to be.
True. He might be a convincing liar, or delusional, or insane. But how many delusional maniacs are going to have that knowledge? He broke open the Fade. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth, but I assumed there had to be a kernel of it, somewhere. But no, it was us all along. We destroyed the world.
You didn't do anything. Those men did. 1,000 years ago.
True, except that one of them is up and walking around right now. Not to mention I have idiot countrymen who would happily follow him down that path again. No one will thank me whatever happens. No one will thank you either. You know that, yes?
That's not why I'm doing this.
I knew there was something clever about you. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world. Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way. I ran into Fiona. Seems you have Alexius serving the mages. There's some justice in that after what he did to them. Maybe one day he'll realize it.
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hosburg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. The guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
I don't think that's it. You felt guilty because you couldn't help him.
Clever you. I had a choice, you see. Wallow in self-pity or get away while I could. At any rate, he's fallen so low, I doubt he'll ever get up. Sad, really.
I should go.
Try not to die. I would notice you were gone. Did you know we're actually related, Inquisitor?
Related?
Oh, not first cousins or anything like that. Can you imagine? You're a Trevelyan, however, and somewhere in dank nethers of my family tree, there was also a Trevelyan. Perhaps he was even the one who ventured to Ostwick to establish the branch. We are talking long ago, of course.
You know that off the top of your head.
Not the top. Maybe the lower middle or thereabouts. Bloodlines are serious business in Tevinter. You're taught lessons and tested by strict nannies. I heard your family mentioned, and I had to go through all the old mnemonics, but yes, there it is. I knew there was a reason we looked so much alike.
I'd rather we weren't related. That might make flirting awkward.
Depends on which branch of the family you come from. Regardless, I think we're still good to go. By at least 3 ages.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
What is the Magisterium exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're Leitan, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
Ah. The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I'm not surprised. It's not an opinion you should share.
You did ask, if you'll recall. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding Felix, Alexius's son. He went to the Magisterium, stood on the Senate floor and told them of you. A glowing testimonial, I'm informed. No news on the reaction, but everyone back home is talking. Felix always was as good as his word.
Was?
He's dead. The blight caught up with him.
Are you all right?
He was ill, and thus on borrowed time anyhow.
That doesn't mean you can't regret his death.
I know. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
With the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No, I had no intention of abusing Alexius's hospitality by seducing his son. Not that I've been proper my whole life, by any means. It wasn't like that. Even in illness, Felix was the best of us. With him around, you knew things could be better.
He should be an example for others to follow, or his death is wasted.
Should I spread the word? We could spawn the cult of Felix within a matter of days.
There are worse things.
Probably true. And you're right. His actions should not be forgotten. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas.
My Lord Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the Tevinter.
Has Dorian done something wrong?
No, thankfully. It's nothing like that. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
He's mentioned his family. They don't appear to be on good terms.
Yes. I believe you're correct. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
So what kind of meeting do you have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhat private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
What happens if Dorian doesn't agree?
Hopefully that will be the end of it. If not, well, that's why you should be there.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
I'll see what I can do.
Bless you, Inquisitor. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I shall pray for your success, and the young man's happiness. That's all we can hope for, is it not?
I could watch you roam Skyhold all day. Here and there you run, checking in on your followers. Why don't they come to you, feed you grapes, rub your shoulders? I suppose it's more fun this way. For me, I mean. You're rather strapping.
I've noticed you're rather strapping yourself.
Of course you have. That only takes eyes.
Luckily, I have those.
You do. A rather fetching pair. At any rate, you didn't pass by to hear me fawn. Something on your mind?
Dorian, there's a letter you need to see.
A letter? Is it a naughty letter? A humorous proposal from some Antivan dowager?
Not quite. It's from your father.
From my father? I see. And what does Magister Hallward want, pray tell?
A meeting.
Show me this letter. I know my son. What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter.
You think your father would actually do that?
No, although I wouldn't put it past him.
Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. If it's not, I send the man back to my father with a message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married. Because you left.
That too.
Let's go meet this retainer then.
I wonder how much my father paid this man to wait around just in case I showed. We'll find out soon enough. Uh-oh, nobody's here. This doesn't bode well.
Dorian.
Father. So the whole story about the family retainer was just, what? A smokescreen?
Then you were told. I apologize for the deception, Inquisitor. I never intended for you to be involved.
Of course not. Magister Parvus couldn't come to Skyhold and be seen with the dread Inquisitor. What would people think? What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion?
This is how it has always been.
I should leave you to work this out.
Oh, no, you don't. I want a witness. I want someone to hear the truth.
Dorian, there's no need to.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
That's a big concern in Tevinter then.
Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader. It means every perceived flaw, every aberration is deviant and shameful. It must be hidden.
So that's what all of this is about? Who you sleep with?
That's not all it's about.
Dorian, please. If you'll only listen to me.
Why? So you can spout more convenient lies? He taught me to hate blood magic. The resort of the weak mind. Those are his words. But what was the first thing you did when your precious heir refused to play pretend for the rest of his life? You tried to change me.
I only wanted what was best for you.
You wanted the best for you. For your fucking legacy. Anything for that.
You got a lot off your chest. Can't you give him a chance to do the same?
Tell me why you came.
If I knew, I would drive you to the Inquisition.
You didn't. I joined the Inquisition because it's the right thing to do. Once, I had a father who would have known that.
Once, I had a son who trusted me. A trust I betrayed. I only wanted to talk to him, to hear his voice again, to ask him to forgive me.
He says we're alike. Too much pride. Once I would have been overjoyed to hear him say that. Now I'm not certain. I don't know if I can forgive him.
Are you all right?
No, not really. Thank you for bringing me out there. It wasn't what I expected, but it's something. Maker knows what you must think of me now, after that whole display.
I don't think less of you. More, if possible.
The things you say.
I mean it.
My father never understood. Living a lie, it festers inside of you like poison. You have to fight for what's in your heart.
I agree.
I see you enjoy playing with fire, Inquisitor. At any rate, time to drink myself into a stupor. It's been that sort of day. Join me sometime, if you've a mind.
You have remarkably little here on early Tevinter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda. But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
That's the Doриan I know, critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitivi here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Doриan?
When everyone returned, they told us about your tumble into the abyssal rift. You went into the Fade. Physically went in. Are you... all right?
I learned a surprising amount. What happened at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, for one?
Regained your memories. That's good, then.
I think so.
You do realize this feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison.
It would have been easier if you'd been with me.
Without question. But I'm rather glad I wasn't.
No sense of adventure? That's surprising.
I've not your talent for survival. And not everyone is as discerning as I. If you can walk in the Fade, others will try to follow. Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
You don't number among them?
It's tempting, but I'm no fool. There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. This I don't need. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck. I do love how you're always on the go. It's tiring to watch you.
I need to talk to you.
Just talk? Such a pity.
I was hoping to steal a moment alone with you.
You have but to ask. Amatus. Lead the way.
I don't know what you think you're doing.
I'm being clucked at by a hen, evidently.
Don't play the fool with me, young man.
If I wanted to play the fool, I could be rather more convincing, I assure you.
Your glib tongue does you no credit.
You'd be surprised at the credit my tongue gets me, Your Reverence.
Oh,
What's going on here?
It seems the revered mother is concerned about my undue influence over you.
It is just concern. Your worship, you must know how this looks.
You might need to spell it out, my dear.
This man is of Tevinter. His presence at your side, the rumors alone.
What's wrong with him being from Tevinter, specifically?
I'm fully aware that not everyone from the Imperium is the same.
How kind of you to notice. Yet still you bow to the opinion of the masses.
The opinion of the masses is based on centuries of evidence. What would you have me tell them?
The truth?
The truth is I do not know you, and neither do they. Thus, these rumors will continue.
Oh? I'd like to hear what these rumors are exactly.
I could not repeat them, Your Worship.
Repeat them? So you've shared them before?
See, I meant no disrespect, Inquisitor. Only to ask after this man's intentions. If you feel he is without ulterior motive, then I humbly beg forgiveness of you both.
Well, that's something.
This sort of thing happens often, does it?
More than anyone tells you. No one knows their own reputation.
Until someone helpfully informs them.
There is that. She meant well, if that's of any concern. It does make me wonder. Is my influence over you undue?
No, not undue at all.
Overdue, then? I tease you too much, I know.
It's helpful when you turn that scathing wit on people other than me.
I'll have to find something we can do that doesn't involve teasing. Soon, ideally. Could I adore you more? Probably not.
I've been told something about an amulet.
How did you hear that? Oh, Liliana. Of course she would find out. Don't make an issue of it. I don't want someone solving my personal problems for me. I'll get the amulet back. Somehow. On my own.
I'm not entirely certain what it is.
The Parvus birthright. The flashy thing you show peons to make them tremble at your impressive lineage. I didn't leave Tevinter with much in the way of coin, so I sold it. Entirely forbidden, of course, and foolish, but I was desperate. I'll figure something out.
You don't even like your family. Why would you want it back?
Because it's mine, and it shouldn't be passed around like candy.
That's the only reason.
It's reason enough. Leave it be.
For something that seems so important, I'd have expected more than, I'll get it somehow.
It's not the only thing that's important. I lost the amulet. I may not have your resources, but I can't ask you to... You have too many people asking you for everything under the sun. I won't be one of them.
Inquisitor. Good, good. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
Is it now?
Do forgive me, Inquisitor, but when I heard of your association with Monsieur Parvus, I could not resist. It's not coin I seek for the amulet, but influence. Influence you possess, but which the young man does not. Provided, of course, you desire the amulet for your friend.
Aren't you a merchant? Why not just sell it back?
I am not a fence, monsieur. I only bought your friend's amulet because of what it is. I do business in the Imperium. Having a birthright, even one not your own, is most useful in select situations. That's why I gave the young man so much. If he relinquished it, how is that my doing?
You want something from me. What would you like?
The Ligue de Celestine is an organization of wealthy noblemen in Orlais. I would join, but I lack the lineage. If someone like you applied pressure, they would admit me. That would be worth the return of the amulet.
You must not know who I am, even beyond being the Inquisitor.
You are a Trevelyan, monsieur. A man of noble blood, a man of honor.
A man who could destroy your hopes of social climbing.
Forgive me, your worship. If it is your desire, I will have the amulet delivered to Skyhold immediately. Please, just think of me kindly. I meant no offense.
Always a sight for sore eyes.
I have something for you. Here it is.
Now I'm indebted to you. I never wanted this, I told you.
Why should there be a debt? After all, I only had to glare at the man.
Of course you did. The Inquisitor snaps his fingers and people tremble.
Now you're just being difficult.
Someone intelligent would cozy up to the Inquisitor if they could. It'd be foolish not to. He can open doors, get you whatever you want, shower you with gifts and power. That's what they'll say. I'm the Magister who's using you.
Let them say whatever they want. I don't care about them.
Naive but adorable. I am apparently an incredible ass at accepting gifts. I apologize and thank you. I'm going to stop before I say something syrupy, but I won't forget this, and I will repay you. Count on it. Have you been to your quarters lately by chance?
Not recently.
Do, when you have the time. There's something there that might interest you.
I should go.
Try not to kill anyone without me. So, it's all very nice, this flirting business. I am, however, not a nice man. So, here is my proposal. We dispense with the chit-chat and move on to something more primal. It'll set tongues wagging, of course. Not that they aren't already wagging. I suppose it really depends. How bad does the Inquisitor want to be?
I thought you'd never ask.
I like playing hard to get.
And now?
I'm gotten. I like your quarters.
Do you now?
Don't misunderstand. I'm not suggesting we venture into mutual domesticity. I just like your appointments.
Ah.
Not that I couldn't suggest some changes. Your taste is a little austere.
You seem a little distracted.
Sex will do that. It's distracting.
I heard a rumor.
Very well, you've rooted me out. There is something I want. I'm curious where this goes, you and I. We've had fun. Perfectly reasonable to leave it here. Get on with the business of killing archdemons and such.
Tell me what you want.
All on me, then.
Should it be all on me?
I like you. More than I should. More than might be wise. We end it here, I walk away. I won't be pleased, but I'd rather now than later. Later might be dangerous.
Why dangerous?
Walking away might be harder then.
I want more than just fun, Dorian. Speechless, I see.
I was expecting something different. Where I come from, anything between two men, it's about pleasure. It's accepted, but taken no further. You learn not to hope for more. You'd be foolish to.
This is more, Dorian. Right here.
Funny, I didn't recognize it then. Care to, inquisit me again? I'll be more specific in my directions this time. Show off. I have to admit, it does feel good to have my amulet back. I'm not above a bit of attachment, apparently. Bloody thing.
I need to talk to you.
Oh. I am, as you say down south, all ears.
I thought we could discuss what happens after.
Ah, yes. After. Dreadful thing, after. Let's see. Assuming one or both of us aren't slaughtered along the way, what do you wish to happen? We could go our separate ways if you prefer. I've been a port in a storm before. I would understand.
Are you saying this because that's what you want?
You're the Inquisitor. You're the one with responsibilities. I am but an adornment upon your arm.
All of a sudden, that's all you are.
That's not all I am. But I'm not the great holy hope of southern Thedas.
It's still early.
You joke. One day they'll write books about you, boring ones that will get it all wrong. Just watch. I don't know what the future holds, for us or anything. That's my honest answer. Once Corypheus is defeated, when this is over, I'd like to talk about it more, if you would. This is all so familiar. I half expect my mother to materialize from the crowd and criticize my manners.
What if your mother were actually here? Where would we be then?
Short one mage after he's dragged out by his earlobe.
I'm having difficulty picturing that.
Picture me a young boy of 5 years then. She certainly always has.
Is this how the elite of Tevinter carry on?
You could almost mistake this for a soiree in the Imperial. The same double-dealing, elegant poison canapes. It's lacking only a few sacrificial slaves and some blood magic. But the night is still young.
Have you seen anything I should know about?
Other than an overabundance of lavender perfume? No, nothing extraordinary.
Don't wear yourself out mingling. I expect a dance before this is over.
Dancing with the evil Magister, in full view of every noble in Orlais. How shocking.
They'll live.
You say that now. If you can find me 10 silk scarves, I've got a dance that will really shock them. There was an ancient dowager looking for you. Said she had 12 daughters. I told her you'd left already. You can thank me later or now. But you look lost in thought. Something on your mind?
I'm just worn out. Tonight has been very long.
You won. You saved the day, literally. The day is saved. You should be celebrating. Enjoy yourself while you can. What you need is a distraction. I have just the thing. Let's dance.
I was hoping you'd ask.
Thank goodness one of us has a little initiative. Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. An empress dead, her replacement in your pocket. A charming fellow, though still a bit of a thug. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you'd like to do more often, then?
Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there.
No? Why not?
Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a ball. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating. Fancy meeting you here.
I need to talk to you.
About how much you adore me, I assume? I hear that so often.
Let's do something interesting.
More interesting than wandering the countryside killing random strangers? Perish the thought. Come, we'll watch your soldiers bash each other with sticks while I critique their uniforms.
What's wrong with their uniforms?
Getting ahead of yourself, aren't you? I have a list. Let me find it.
I am willing to pay the price the well demands. I am also the best suited to use its knowledge in your service.
Or more likely to your own ends?
What would you know of my ends, elf?
You are a glutton drooling at the sight of a feast. You cannot be trusted.
Of those present, I alone have the training to make use of this. Let me drink, Inquisitor.
What training makes you so qualified?
I have studied the oldest lore. I have delved into mysteries of which you could only dream. Can you honestly tell me there is anyone better suited?
What about you, Dorian?
A human from Tevinter scoops up the last bits of elven knowledge? I know why you ask. I know it's important, but I can't be that man.
What about you, Solus?
No. Do not ask me again.
I would be.
I don't want to risk losing you to a well.
If anyone is to use the well, it will be me.
Drink if you will, for the sake of us all. But steel your will to do it.
If you don't come through this, I swear I'll kill you. Not dead. Well, that's a relief. So, good? Bad? I'm dying to know.
What happened at the Elven Temple? It's got me thinking. I should go back, shouldn't I? To Tevinter. Once this is done. If we're still alive. All my talk of how terribly wrong things are back home. But what do I do about it? Nothing.
How does this relate to the Elven Temple?
That elf, Abelas. He said the Imperium wasn't what destroyed the elves. My people would never accept that. It would reduce us to scavengers, destroy our legacy no matter how terrible. But we should accept it. Take our history down a peg. Confront the legacy hanging over us like a shroud. Maybe not all of us want to, but that could be altered. If you can change minds, so can I.
You would just leave. What about
us? Trust me, Amatus. It would give me no pleasure to leave your side. You make monumental decisions affecting the entire world. How can I not consider some of my own?
Why don't I go with you?
Take you away from all this? I can't ask that of you.
You don't have to ask. I'm offering.
Tempting. We both know you would end up doing it all yourself. As much as watching my homeland beaten into submission would amuse me, this is something I need to do.
If that's what you have to do, I understand.
There you go. Breaking my heart. This is your fault, remember? You inspired me with your marvelous antics. You're shaping the world, for good or ill. How could I aspire to do any less? If it means proving that Tevinter can be better, that there's hope even for my homeland, I would do anything.
Then it's over. How lovely.
And you're alive. And I'm alive. Incredible, isn't it? I was passing through the hall this morning and a serving girl saw me and squealed. Actually squealed, dropped her laundry and everything. Such a mess. She was completely breathless. You were at the battle with the evil one, weren't you? I didn't even get a chance to answer. She hugged me. Hugged me. This is your influence.
Admit it, you're having a ball.
don't trust camaraderie, all these people smiling, buying me drinks. It's unnatural. Mind you, I can't say I hate the notion of being the good Tevinter. I suppose you can't all be evil bastards. The blacksmith said that, and he spat when we first met. I hope my father hears. He will shit his small clothes from shock, I swear.
I'm happy you're here, after all that's happened.
I fully expected to die. It would have been thematically appropriate. And you could have been a martyr. Oh, the songs they would have composed.
There will still be songs.
Yes, but they won't have the same gravitas. We'll just have to be satisfied with being alive. And together, I've decided to return to Tevinter. Perhaps not right away. Too many interesting things here. Plus, there's you. It'll be hard enough to leave, but I certainly won't until I'm through with you.
Or I'm through with you.
Oh, please. We both know that won't happen. Going somewhere, Amatus? You didn't think one brief chat would be enough, did you?
You do know we have all the time in the world now.
You say that, but I'm not waiting until the sky splits open again. See? Much better. Yes, I'm sure you have all the things to say. 2 things in private before you run off. First, you are terribly dull and I hate you.
What's the second?
I hope this ends soon. Frightening thought. A divine with enough spies to know how often you piss. It will be difficult to return to Tevinter after all this, leaving you. Most difficult of all. I'd almost rather let the Imperium rot. Such is my lot. Just a little longer, then.
All is on your side, Lord Parvis. The Inquisition support is not a thing to lose lightly.
Which is why the Orlesian court is circling it with a net and collar? But you'll have to excuse me. I see an old friend I must greet. Inquisitor, how long has it been? Don't actually tell me. I despise feeling old. It's good to see you, my friend.
You arrived ahead of me. I hope all's well?
It's everything I expected. We've been spared the burden of surprise. Orlais wants the Inquisition tamed, Ferelden wants it gone, the Chantry meddles, and Tevinter sends but one ambassador. That's me, by the way. A reward for my interest in the South. Thankfully, Ambassador Pavis is a token appointment. Call on me as you like.
As the most eloquent dwarf you know, Sparkles...
Speech! Speech! Way too much speech.
Varric, there's really no need.
What's going on?
Inquisitor! You're just in time. Sparkles, the Imperium doesn't deserve you. Or want you. It may even kill you. But we'll miss you. If it counts. And you didn't know. Okay, folks. Time to take the party elsewhere.
Toma never wanted any. I swear.
Leave him.
It's true. When the Exalted Council has ended, I'm going back to Tevinter. For good, this time.
But you weren't going to tell me that or discuss it with me first.
I didn't want you to find out like this. Frankly, I've been dreading this conversation, but here it is. My father is dead. Assassinated, I believe. I received notice this morning. A perversely cheerful letter congratulating me on assuming his seat in the magisterium. We only met a few times while I was home. He didn't say anything about keeping me as his heir. This ambassadorship, his doing, I'm told. He must have wanted me away when the trouble began. I have to go back.
What of us? This is it, then?
Nonsense. There will always be an us. We'll just be farther apart for a time. Now, don't pout. They'll put that expression on a statue, and then you'll be sorry.
You think this is funny?
Nothing about this is funny. I am sorry, for what it's worth.
I know it was complicated, but I'm sorry about your father.
Thank you. It still doesn't feel real.
So you'll truly be a magister?
Oh, yes. I can't wait to degrade the magisterium with my presence. A new outfit is required.
And then what?
I find my father's killers and kill them back. Then I find those giving Tevinter a bad name and kill them. They're most likely the same people, so that should make the job easier.
You'll need help. I could go with you.
Not this time, Amatus. I won't be entirely without support. Mayveris has gathered other magisters who feel as we do. We'll be an actual faction in the magisterium. I'll teach them manners, take them shopping. It'll be fun.
You don't have to go back, Dorian. You put it behind you. You still could.
Give up a golden opportunity for martyrdom. Perish the thought. A present. A going-away present. It's a sending crystal. Amazing what friendship with the Inquisition gives you access to. If I get in over my head, or you're overwhelmed with sorrow for lack of my velvety voice... Magic. What? You didn't think I would just leave and you'd never hear from me again, did you? You are the man I love, Amatus. Nothing will truly keep us apart. Now let's finish the good wine before the others get back. Cold stone, dark tunnels, and surrounded by extremely hostile Canari. Not the place I'd have chosen for a romantic homecoming, Amatus.
Wandering into peril is practically how we met.
Oh yes, practically a second honeymoon. Halam Shiral's guest suites are legendary. I've always wanted to try a wyvern-down bed. Can Josephine arrange something? Quite the party, wasn't it? I hear it left the Orlesians and Fereldans completely aghast. Andraste's herald, the Inquisitor, toasting a Tevinter Magister. Not a bad scandal to leave on.
What is this ambassadorship about, exactly?
I believe my father set it up, but the Imperium certainly didn't object. They'd love for the Inquisition to fall apart, so they're happy if it seems they consider this council a waste of time.
That makes no sense.
No? If Dread Tevinter actually pushed for the Inquisition's end, everyone else would disagree on principle. So they send a nobody pariah and hope for the best. Makes perfect sense to me.
What did you do in Tevinter while you were away?
I went home. Twice. Father was only there once. Mother was drunk both times. I also went to Carinas to see my good friend Mayveris. Then I settled some of Alexis's affairs. That wasn't fun.
Any thoughts about the Exalted Council?
A few. Divine Victoria needs a new tailor for one. From the paintings of Liliana in that enormous robe, you'd think she was pregnant. could cause a delicious scandal. As for this whole exalted council business, well, I warned you once that no one would thank you for saving the world. Sadly, I'm always right. So long as the Inquisition's around to remind them they're not really in charge, they'll never sleep comfortably. Whether they have the guts to take action, I suppose we'll see.
Another time.
I look forward to it.
Liliana told us about what happened with your hand.
Why didn't you say something? I could have... I don't know, something.
Whatever happens, I wouldn't trade the years we've had together for anything. I love you.
I knew you would break my heart, you bloody bastard.
Let us show all who would cross the Inquisition the price of their mistake.
One more fight, then. Let's finish this.